You decide to do something. You stand up, you walk into the next room, and by the time you get there, you have no idea what you came for. This isn't about your memory failing. It's not about getting older or being distracted. It's about something much stranger happening in your brain the moment you make a decision to act. Most people think forgetting what you just decided to do is a sign of poor focus. They blame their phone, their stress, their lack of sleep. And while those things matter, they're not why this specific thing happens. The real reason is that your brain treats certain decisions differently than others, and it does this automatically without asking you first. When you decide to go get something from another room, your brain doesn't file that decision the way it files other information. It treats it as temporary. As soon as you start moving toward that goal, your brain assumes the decision has been handled. It clears the mental space. It moves on. This is called the doorway effect, and it happens because your brain uses physical boundaries to organize memory. When you walk through a door, your brain interprets that as the end of one event and the start of another. The decision you made in the previous room gets filed away as complete, even though you haven't actually done the thing yet. This isn't a bug. It's how your brain manages the overwhelming amount of information you process every day. Your mind can't hold on to everything, so it creates mental chapters. Rooms, locations, and transitions act as chapter breaks. When you move from one space to another, your brain closes the previous chapter to make room for the next one. The problem is that your intention to do something doesn't always survive the transition. You walk through the door, the chapter closes, and the thing you were holding in your mind gets tucked away with everything else from that moment. You're left standing in the new room with nothing but a vague sense that you had a purpose. This happens more with small, immediate tasks than with big ones. If you decide to call someone about an important meeting, you'll probably remember. But if you decide to grab your phone charger from the bedroom, there's a decent chance you'll forget by the time you get there. The difference isn't importance. It's how your brain categorizes the task. Small, routine actions don't get the same mental weight as complex or emotionally significant ones. Your brain assumes these minor tasks will sort themselves out. It prioritizes what seems urgent or meaningful and lets the rest fade into the background. So when you walk through a door, the minor task you are holding gets dropped first. You can see this happen in other places too. You open your phone to check something specific, and by the time the screen loads, you've forgotten what it was. You go to your desk to write down a thought, and the second you sit down, the thought is gone. You pause a conversation to remember a word, and the moment you stop focusing on it, the word disappears. These aren't separate problems. They're all the same mechanism. Your brain is constantly clearing space, resetting focus, moving from one mental frame to another. And every time it does, some of what you were holding gets left behind. This is why writing things down works. Not because you're bad at remembering, but because you're offloading the task before your brain has a chance to reset. The act of writing bypasses the doorway effect. It takes the thought out of temporary storage and puts it somewhere external, somewhere that doesn't depend on you maintaining focus across a transition. But most people don't write things down for small tasks. They assume they'll remember, and most of the time they're right. But the times they forget stand out, because forgetting something you just decided feels like a failure. It feels personal. It's not. Your brain is doing exactly what it's designed to do. It's managing cognitive load. It's keeping you functional in a world that throws thousands of inputs at you every hour. The cost of that efficiency is that some things get dropped, and the things that get dropped first are the ones that seem least urgent in the moment. This is where it gets uncomfortable, because if your brain is constantly deciding what's worth remembering and what's not, and if it's doing this without your conscious input, then a lot of what you think you control is actually being managed by processes you're not aware of. You don't choose to forget. Your brain chooses for you, and it's not choosing based on what you care about. It's choosing based on patterns, routines, and predictions. It's guessing what you'll need next, and it's wrong often enough that you notice, but not wrong often enough to stop doing it. The uncomfortable part is realizing that your sense of being in control of your own thoughts is partial at best. You can decide to remember something, but that decision competes with everything else your brain is managing. And most of the time, the automatic systems win. This doesn't mean you're powerless. It just means the way you think about memory needs to adjust. You're not remembering or forgetting because of willpower. You're working with a system that has rules, and those rules don't always align with what you want in the moment. The doorway effect isn't the only reason you forget immediate tasks. Interruptions do it too. So does mental fatigue. So does trying to hold too many things at once. But the doorway effect is one of the clearest examples of how your brain organizes experience, and how that organization doesn't always serve your short-term goals. One thing this does not mean is that you're losing your memory in a clinical sense. Forgetting why you walked into a room is not the same as forgetting entire conversations or people's names or how to do familiar tasks. Those are different types of memory issues, and they follow different patterns. The doorway effect is about working memory, the kind that holds things for seconds or minutes, not the kind that stores your past or your identity. It also doesn't mean you should treat every small task like a major one. Your brain clears space for a reason. If you tried to remember everything with the same intensity, you'd overload. The system works most of the time. It's just not perfect. What this does mean is that the moments when you forget aren't moments of personal failure. They're moments when your brain's organizational system conflicted with your immediate intention, and that conflict is built into how cognition works. It's not something you can overcome by trying harder. You can work around it. You can write things down, set reminders, say the task out loud as you move between rooms. But you can't eliminate it, because eliminating it would mean eliminating the system that allows you to function smoothly the rest of the time. So the next time you walk into a room and forget why you're there, you're not broken. You're not losing focus. You're just experiencing the side effect of a brain that's trying to keep up with a complicated world by making constant, invisible decisions about what to hold on to and what to let go. And most of the time, it's right. But sometimes, it drops the thing you needed, and you're left standing there wondering what you came for, while your brain has already moved on to the next thing.